getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town.
Welcome viewers. Today we are going to talk about psychometric tests. Psychometric tests are the second part of the CPSS test. The first part is the cognitive ability tests. We have already covered cognitive ability test in our previous videos, and it is very important that you do well in the cognitive ability tests, because if you do not pass in cognitive ability tests, then you do not get chance to appear in the psychometric tests. So if you have not seen the previous video, please search it on YouTube by the name Procedure and Tips for Clearing CPSS Test Part 1. Now, let's go briefly over what is CPSS tests, and thereafter we will talk in detail about the psychometric tests. CPSS test has to be passed by a candidate before he can think of joining the flying training. And this test, that is the CPSS test, is taken only once during the lifetime of a candidate. So if you do not pass this test in your first attempt, then you cannot fly in the armed forces. Neither can you fly the fighter aircraft, nor the transport, nor the helicopters. Therefore, it is very important that you pass the CPSS test, and these tests are held in the Air Force Selection Board. The tests are divided into two parts as discussed earlier. The psychometric test determine the reflexes and mental alertness of a candidate, and they give you these tests in an aircraft simulator. There are total 10 tests in which a candidate has to appear, and for every test they will give you 4 chances. The best score of these 4 chances is counted towards your passing or failing. These tests, all the 10, take about 90 minutes. Picture, you can see how does a simulator looks like. On the screen you will have lights on the sides. You will also be given a headset so that you can hear sounds. You will have a joystick in the center which will have a button which can be pressed. In addition, there will be a lever on your left and paddles. All these form part of control, which is just like playing a video game. The first test in the psychometric testing is the SMA, or the sensory motor apparatus test. Now in this test, you will see a ball on the screen, and there will be 3 overlapping squares. The ball will be moving randomly on the screen, and you will have control over these squares with the help of your joystick and paddles. Your task is to keep the ball in the innermost square. So the more time the ball remains in the innermost square, the more marks you score. While you are doing the controlling of so that the ball can be in the innermost square, there will be 2 lights flashing. When a light flashes, you have to put the lever in the front, and similarly, all the while when you are wearing the headset, there will be noise heard on your headset, and in order to stop the noise, you will have to press the button on the joystick. All this has to be done within 3 seconds. So if you respond to these light and the sound within 3 seconds, then you get that many extra marks. But remember, the priority is to keep the ball in the innermost square. So by now, candidates must have understood that it is very important that you get familiarized to all the controls quickly. Anyway, you are going to get 4 chances. So see how much of movement of joystick moves the squares and how much is movement of the paddles moves the square, and be careful about it, because now you are going to get into the second test, and that is control velocity test, that is the CVT. In the CVT, you'll find when you're sitting in front of the computer screen in the aircraft simulator, some balls will be falling randomly from the top of the screen. Your task is to touch these balls with your blue ball, and you can control your ball with the joystick. So in this test, the future position of the target is tested. That means, is the candidate able to understand what would be the future position of the target? So you will move the joystick so that you can touch maximum balls which are falling from top to bottom. To show you an example, on your screen you're seeing a picture. In this picture, you can see that the recommended path is on the left part of the picture, whereas on the right part, wherever you have to take a sharp turn, avoid that. Otherwise, you will miss many balls. The third test in the psychometric testing is the dual task test. In this test, there will be, on your screen, there will be a horizontal rectangular shape in which there will be a red square. There will also be a rectangular shape which will be vertical on your screen, and there will be red square there too. The red square will be moving in the horizontal rectangle as well as the vertical rectangle randomly. Your task is to control the blue square by the joystick in the vertical rectangle, and the blue square in the horizontal shape will be controlled by you with the help of paddles. So your task is to see that the blue square overlaps the red square at maximum time. So you will control with the help of joystick and paddles so that you gain maximum points. The fourth test in the psychometric testing is the dot estimation test. On your computer screen in the front, you will find a view of the stars. One of these stars will be blinking. You will have control of a square which will be moved with the help of the joystick and the paddles, and the moment you come over the blinking stars, that is the square comes over the blinking star, you press the button select, and that will give you a score. Now the next test in the psychometric testing is speed estimation test. In this test, on your screen, an arrow will move from left to right. It will pass behind an opaque rectangular shape. After the opaque rectangular shape, there will be a vertical line. Since the rectangular shape is opaque, when the arrow goes behind this rectangular shape, you will not be able to see it. But you have to estimate when this arrow will reappear and touch the vertical line. The moment this arrow touches the vertical line after crossing through the opaque rectangle unseen, you will have to select the button on the joystick, press it. If you press it at the right moment, when the arrow is touching the vertical line, the arrow will turn green, and this will indicate that you have correct estimation of speed. Mind you, you have to estimate the speed of the arrow, and each time the arrow will come with a different speed. And therefore, if you do not press the button on your joystick at the right moment when the arrow touches the vertical line, then you will get negative marks. The next test in the psychomotor testing is size anticipation test. In this test, two balls will appear on the screen. One ball will be expanding and the other will be shrinking. When it appears that the size of the two balls has become equal, you have to press the button on the joystick so that you have measured both the two balls equal on your screen, and the marks are awarded on accuracy of your measurement. The next test in the psychometric testing is the pursuit tracking test, and thereafter you will see the memory recalling test. In the memory recalling test, you will find that a text containing 5 letters, a combination of 5 letters and numbers will appear on the center of the screen. Memorize it, because after a couple of seconds, a new text will appear on your screen with options underneath it. You have to find the odd one out. So let's see an example. In this example, you can see that G is the odd one out, and so the correct option is 1. Okay, let us see one more example. So there is a text on the screen, and then another text with option has come. Now clearly here the letter S is the odd one out. So the correct option is 2. Okay. The next test in the psychometric testing is the color naming test. In this test, a text would appear on your computer screen in the front. This text would be name of a color. Now the color may be written in the same ink or a different ink, and at the same time a text will appear at the bottom of the screen where it would contain text and color. Now whichever is highlighted, you have to select accordingly. So in this example, color is highlighted. Hence, you will select the option as your right answer. Now let us see one more example. On your screen, the word blue is written in the green ink, and on the bottom right of your screen, you can see that text is highlighted, and therefore the correct answer to this question is option C. The last test in the psychometric testing is the vigilance test. In this test, you will be shown an emoji, and there will be a grid containing many emojis. Your task is to go over these emojis with the help of your joystick from in the first row from left to right. As soon as you find a matching emoji which you have seen earlier, press the button on the joystick. Continue moving, and then in the second row you will be moving from right to left. Once again, select the emoji which you have seen previously. As you keep selecting emojis, you will keep getting points. Remember, there is negative marking for selecting the wrong emoji. In the end, I would like to say that it is the candidate's reflexes, mental alertness, and the ability to keep calm under stress which will help him do well in these tests. Anyway, the best score out of the 4 chances that you will get in every test is counted. And therefore, this is not a very difficult test. And if you do well in this, you will go on to pass your CPSS test. Thank you.